$69 a month, because it takes from your profits before your pockets, right? So I always made more money than $69 a month.
Yeah.
Right. So for the 4-step training, guys, since we got this recorded, my name is Conrado Casallo. I'm an international executive here in Seattle, Washington, and today we're going to do the 4-step training for vacation travel. So building a rock solid future in vacation travel. So for the first step, guys, if you guys are taking mental notes or paper or phone, whatever you guys want to do, be a product of the product, right? What that means is you got to log into your back office, watch the training video, and take the test and become CTC. You can't pay $149 and invest in a business and not become a travel agent, right? You got to take the exam, guys. And what that does is it's going to open up your vendors list, so it shows you all the vendors that you have access to and the discounts. Okay, you want to take a fam trip. You want to familiarize yourself with your website and share your website with your friends. Book some travel and take a trip. You could even do like a fake trip, right? Just so you could learn how to book a trip. Just pretend like you're going somewhere, right? And then learn the ropes. What I did is I also called some of the vendors and I gave them my agent ID because, you know, I was like, man, I want to see if this is legit, right? So I started calling the vendors like, hey, you know, I'm from Extreme Travel. This is my agent ID and I want to book a trip. I want to see, you know, what I could do. And so they're pretty helpful. You really want to share your site with your friends. If you open a restaurant and you have a closed sign and none of your close friends know that you have a restaurant, is that bad business or what?
Bad business.
Right? But if you open a restaurant, here's what you're going to do. You're going to tell all your friends and family about it, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, man, I just opened up this Jamaican restaurant. You guys got to try this food, you know? Anyways, I just saw your afro, so I know you're Haitian. Next. So you want to make a list, right? Your list, this is the fuel to your business. This is your inventory. You got to make a list of at least 100 names. At first, I was like, well, I don't know 100 people. If you don't think about it, you can't think about it, right? It's hard to think about it. But once you sit down and actually say, you know what? I heard that we as humans only use 10% of our minds. I think for this business, I'm going to at least use 11%. I'm going to think of 100 names. Once I started writing 100 names, here's what happened. When I wrote his name down, I thought of someone else. You start to think of someone else who's associated with that person. And so my list, where I thought I couldn't write 100 names, I ended up being over 250. Right? If you guys have been on this earth more than 18 years, there's no excuse not to know 100 people. That means you're doing something wrong. Right? And you better start to get to know 100 people.
So 250 people got you 48 recruits?
No. 250 people got me to national in 2 weeks. And then the majority of the people said no. And then they started coming along when they started seeing me make money. So you want to filter the list based on certain criteria where they say it's good to have people who's 25. Right? That means they finished school. They already know, all right, a job's not working for me. Okay? Married, because that shows that they have commitment. And they own a home because that shows that they're responsible, right? So those are some of the criteria. It doesn't have to be, because we've been building this business with a lot of broke college kids who are now making money, right? Like this guy right here. You know what? Tell your story really quick. He's from Florida, guys. I found him on Facebook. What happened?
I joined you.
Why did you join me?
Because I was in debt in college and had to make some money.
How much were you paying per semester?
Like $5,000.
And so for $5,000 for college and $149 for here, where have you learned more about making money?
I learned more here. I learned more about life skills and how to talk to people. So I learned more here for sure. Right?
Most people that go to college and take speech class or public speaking can't come up here right now and speak in front of you guys. It's weird. You know, launch your business within 24 hours of enrollment. Follow up with guests within 60 minutes of launch call. So what that means, guys, is you don't want to open up a restaurant and then a month later you say, okay, you know what? I think I'm ready to open this restaurant. And then you see like a bill on your door and it says that you owe $2,500 for your lease, right? You don't want that to happen where, you know, you owe $69. You want to get in profit mode right away. Okay? So PS3, peak interest, show plan, 3-8 call. This right here is where the magic happens, guys. Learn these 3 steps, because all we do in this business is we peak interest, we show the plan, and we do a 3-8 call. Right? Do you guys know what peaking interest means? Anybody here have an answer? You look like a smart man.
Well, you know, get somebody curious about something, make them want to, you know, join or want to see what's going on, you know, and like spark curiosity in someone.
Spark curiosity. You know, it's like this. If you go to a bar and you start talking to a girl and you're trying to close her on the spot, what's she going to say? She's going to say, get away from me, man. Even though you have good intentions. Right? You have good intentions, but bad approach. So you gotta pique their interest. And for the new people here, you guys want to know a secret?
Yeah.
You guys want to know a secret?
Yes.
Tell us a secret, man.
Yes.
Okay.
The secret is he piqued your interest.
The secret is I piqued your interest. There's really no secret, right? But when I ask, do you want to know a secret? People are usually like, yeah, tell me. I just piqued their interest. Did I say anything? Did I say travel agent? Did I say 149? Did I say 69 a month? I didn't, right? Did I say save money in travel? Here's what happens when people get into business. Hey, man, yo, you got to take a look at this new opportunity that just came across. It's only $149 to get started. $69 a month. You enroll your first 2 people, you make $100. You enroll your 3rd person, you just profited. Right? We're getting paid to go to Vegas, to go to Hawaii. They start telling the whole spiel. And then the person says, it kind of seems like one of those pyramid scams. I don't know about that. I think I'm going to have to go. Right? And then after that, whenever you try to call them, they don't even want to hear from you ever again. Now, when you go into a room, they're like, oh, shoot, he's going to tell me about that business that he's in. Someone hide me. Right? They're going to want to hide from you guys. You got to pique their interest. And then you show the plan. This is how I built my business while I was in the bathroom taking a dump. Seriously. Ask these guys. I'll do 3 calls and I'll be like, hey, you know. But here's how I built my business. Who here has Facebook account? Who here is making money through Facebook? Right? Here's how I built my business. Facebook. Right?
Yeah.
This is my third, this is our 3rd meeting, guys. This is our 3rd week. I built this by sending a 16-minute video in someone's inbox after I piqued their interest. After I found out, hey, are you open to making extra income? Doing what? Right? Boom, I sent them the video. They like it. The most crucial part of the step is the 3-way call. But it's the most underutilized part. When you join this business, you're not a lone ranger. If you're doing this business by yourself, you won't get far. It's a team effort. This guy hit national executive without saying a word. Right, Jonathan? After he piqued the interest, here's what he did. Hey, Conrado, I got someone who wants to meet up at Starbucks at 12 o'clock tomorrow morning. Okay, let's get him there. So what do you know so far about the business? Well, nothing. He just invited me here. And I figured I need to make some extra income. We put on the 16-minute video. So while they're watching that 16-minute video, me and Jonathan are playing chess on our phones. No, I'm just joking. We're playing chess on our phones. But that could be a scenario. Right? See what I'm saying? You know, and then we just sit there. And so basically what he's doing was he piqued their interest. Right? We're showing them the plan. And then I'm the 3-way call. Right? So when you guys join this business, your uplines are your servants. Okay? You guys, you got to remember, do you think that we have the intentions to make you guys money? When we get a cut, when you get paid, we get paid. Yeah. You think we have the, you know, we want you guys to make money? So if we want you guys to make money, guess what? When an intern goes to his internship, okay, he's shadowing someone and he's watching them. Okay, this is how you do this right here, you know, and they start doing whatever they're doing. But the internship is just watching, right? You don't go to an internship and don't worry, I got this, right? You don't do that. You know what I'm saying? But that's what people do in this business. They think they're know-it-all. You know, even till this day, you know how I recruited 48 people with no paid traffic, with none of that, cold market? is I pique their interest, I show them plan, and then even though I could close someone myself, I would call Greg or Philip on my upline, Mr. Gregory Hinton and Mr. Philip Rollins. Hey, I got a 3-way call. This person here is in Minnesota. Do you think that you could do this right here? It's like, yeah, get him on the phone. And then you edify. This is the 3-way call. You edify, right? Because we're experts. And people don't want to know, like, oh, hey, like, we're matchmakers, right? We're connectors. When, let's say, for example, if you, like if I introduce you two on a date, right? I don't say, hey, Abby, meet my friend Caleb's. Caleb's, meet my friend Abby. Take it away. No, right? No, I go with this. Abby, you got to meet Caleb's. Now, this guy's a phenomenal guy, right? He has a nice job. His haircut is on point, right? He knows how to rap and sing, and he's just so smooth. You got to meet. And Caleb's, you got to meet Abby. You know, she's tall. She has nice hair. You know, some people mistaken her for Sierra, but you two got to meet, right? So, boom, what did I just do? I just edified both of them to go on a date. So the 3-way call, because isn't it awkward if they say, hey, John, meet my friend Greg. Greg, this is John.
Like, okay.
Right? Who's Greg?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, this is my friend Greg. He's actually one of the guys who got me into this business. He's a phenomenal, leader. He's my mentor. He's been helping people around, right? You just tell his story, how he's an IT professional, but on the side, he's making an extra $5,000 part-time with this. Right? Because it's a true story. And then after you do that 3-way call, here's what you do. Mute. Go right here, speaker. All right, let's play some chess.
Yeah.
Or with some people, let's go play some video games. Let
Go
them
play
talk.
soccer.
They're the ones closing, right? Because if you do all the work, here's what your friends will say. Well, I don't know if I could do it like you. You're just so good at talking, Caleb's. Like, you have charming personality. Who am I? That's what your friends is going to think, right? But when Jonathan, ladies, you guys know this, right? When Jonathan invited you guys to meet me up at Starbucks, who did all the talking, him or me? Right? So when they invited their friends to Starbucks, who did talking, you or me? Okay? Because when you just invite people to sit down there and you let your uplines do talking, your friends will realize, like, hold on, all they did was just invite me. It was low pressure. It was really casual. Now this handsome young Filipino guy is doing all the talking. Perfect. All right? So that's what you guys want. You guys want the handsome Filipino guy doing all the talking. Charming, too. Don't forget that. No, I'm just joking with you guys.
Humble, too.
Very humble. No, I'm just joking. Okay, next. So see that, guys? Right? You do minimum talking. Because when you do minimum talking, guess what? The next person that you're inviting, you got to keep it simple. Talk like an 8th grade level, and even college professors could understand you, right? The more simple you guys keep it, the more, they'll think, wait a minute, I could do this. But if you make it complicated, they're like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to bother my friends and family and, do what you're doing because you don't make me feel good, right? You make me feel uncomfortable when you're talking to me about this. You got to make the people feel comfortable. So the next is, step 3 is you guys got to host 4 travel parties. 4 is the magic number. I don't know why, but that's what the slide says. Host 4 per month and you make part-time income. Who here just wants to make part-time on top of what they're already making because they have a job, they're busy, they go to school, they have kids, whatever it is? Who here just wants to make part-time income, right? 4 per week, you eventually make full-time income, right? But what John did, the reason why he hit national in 3 weeks without saying a word is he was doing 4 per day. He was just inviting people, and then he goes, hey, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, we have meetings. So we'd go to the KM Starbucks, that's our headquarters, the KM Starbucks, and we'd sit there. One person watch the video, boom, leave, they sign up. One person watch the video, they sign up, they leave. One person watch the video, they sign up, they leave, right? And then we're like, man, John just made more money sitting here at Starbucks than the employees.
Yeah.
Right? And here's what happens. As the business starts to grow, your residual income will start making more money than their monthly hourly income. Right? I was showing him, I was like, I showed him my back office. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Look at this. Look at my progress from 6 months ago till now. My residual income is more money than these guys' hourly income. And these guys got to deal with customers. I just sit here and we watch the same video over and over again. Right? It's like, getting paid to watch Iron Man all over again. But instead of 2 hours, it's only 16 minutes. And then you guys get to talk to a handsome Filipino guy, right? Nice. Oh, 4 per day is life-changing, right? That's what I want, life-changing income. You know, and here's the opportunity we have, guys. There's companies out there right now where the top earners are making 1.3 million a month. Okay? Companies out there right now. This is still the beginning that our top income earner in this company only makes 80 grand a month. 1.3 at other companies, or 80 grand in 18 months. This company's been around for 18 months, and our top earner only makes 80 grand a month. So what does that tell you guys with this opportunity that we have?
Millions.
It's the beginning. And the people who's been here the first, the second, and this is the third week in the meeting, there's always new faces, right?
Yeah.
There's always new faces. It's expanding. Okay? Next. So, here's the thing. You guys got to make a commitment to yourselves. Right? We keep talking about opening up restaurants and food trucks. One of my buddies, he was working at Xerox for 7 years. Now, this guy dedicated most of his years in his 20s. From 21 to 27 years old. He was working at Xerox. He gets laid off. He was making about $13, $14 an hour. He gets laid off, guys. 7 years, $14 an hour. And so you know what happens? One of my buddies, he's a realtor, and he's like, hey, man, I have this friend who has a food truck. You should buy it. And he goes, do they take payments? He goes, no. He goes, how much is it? He's like, $80,000. He goes, I don't have $80,000. I just got laid off. I've been unemployed for 3 months, and I'm living off unemployment. And you know, he was a singer too, so he sang at clubs around here. So he get paid like $100, $150, but that wasn't enough, you know. So he's like, well, if it's important to you, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. So what he did is for the next week, he called up everybody, and he found $80,000. What's easier, to find $80,000 or 149?
149.
But most people who say they're serious can't even find 149, but then they're walking around in Jordans. Does that make sense? You know, you can't find 149. What I would do is I would sell that. You know, go take that on eBay, sell that for $149, get started, make your money back, and get yourself a fresh pair of Jordans. Right? We live in a capitalist, you know, country. You could sell and buy, but if you can't sell and buy, you could buy, then sell and buy. Right? So, what happened was for the next year and a half, he did not make any money in his food truck. So he just borrowed $80,000, and he's spending more money on gas than he has money coming in. He started living off his credit cards, right? Because he was making no money. And he wanted to quit so many times, but he says, you know what? I already invested $80,000. I got to make this work. I got to figure this out. I got to be committed. So for the next year and a half, he paid off $35,000 of his food truck. He paid off all of his debts, and he saved up $40,000 cash. You can't do that with a 9-to-5. Even if you're making $100 an hour, you still can't do that. Right? And he told me, I was with him the other day, and he says his biggest day, or his biggest weekend was by to Seattle, almost 20 grand in 3 days. Right? What would happen if he quit that first year and a half where he was making no money, but his overhead expenses was more than $69 a month, and he had no mentorship, and he had no training, he couldn't plug in, he had to do it on his own, right? So we say make an 18-month commitment, but I say, you know, make a life commitment to yourself. Because most businesses fail within their first 2 to 5 years. The cool part is $149, 3 people, you just made your money back. You're in profit mode by then, right? Commit to your why. If your why is not big enough to make you cry, then, you know, you got to get a new why. So if your why is to make an extra $500 a month just to make $500 a month, here's what happens when you don't make $500 a month. You quit. Because you're happy with your life in the first place without that $500 a month. Right? Because if you weren't happy with your life without that $500 a month, you would have done something about it already. Doesn't that make sense? So commit to your why. Your why has to be bigger. I mean, we have single moms out there where their why is their 3 kids. You know, single mom with 2 jobs and 3 kids, that's not the way we're meant to live.
Why it's hospital.
Right? What'd you say?
I said sometimes your why is the hospital bills.
Hospital bills. Right? Unexpected. Some people's whys is to pay for the school that they went to get the degree, and they're not even working at the, you know, in that field. Like this guy over here smiling, you know? And so you got to have that why. If your why, like one of the guys on my team, this is how I know that excuses is all made up. Because Brandon Blackwell, 22 years old, IRAM recruited him through Facebook from LA, signed up when he was homeless. Right? 22-year-old African-American, homeless. His mom was drugged out. He was sleeping from couch to couch. He was sleeping at the junkyards. Wherever he could find sleep, he was sleeping there. Right? And he says, okay, guys, so do you guys, you know, you guys just promise that you guys will stick with me and you guys won't, you know, disappear. We're like, yeah, we'll help you out, man. This guy plugged in. He called me every single day. Hey, man, I got a question. Hey, man, I got a question. So what do I do with this? What do I do with this? Right? He plugged in. He was on every single Google Hangout. He was on every single conference call. He did whatever it is that was required. Because you know why? He was tired of being homeless. He couldn't find a job anywhere. No one wanted to hire him. Right? In LA. And he's like, yeah, man. He goes, I'm just tired of seeing my mom go in and out of rehab. You know, he's like, I'm just tired. You know, he's like, I grew up and we slept in junkyards. Right? In cars. And so his why was to not allow his kids to experience what he experienced growing up. Now that's a big why, and that's the reason why, you know, he's still in the business and he's almost an international executive. And he finally just last month got a job part-time at Samsung at Best Buy. And he's recruiting all the people at his work. Right? Yeah. But the thing is, he committed. He's like, you know how many times he wanted to give up? But he's like, you know what? He goes, I can't give up because I have no job. I have no other income. He's like, this is all I have. He's like, I applied everywhere. I walked down the street. You know, I did whatever I can. This is all I have. Because this is all he had, guess what? He has to make it. You know what I'm saying? It's like that story where you had that captain of the ship. They went to go invade an island. And he says, burn all the ships down. And his crew goes, why? He goes, because we either stay here and have victory or we stay here and die. There's no turning back. There's no escape. We can't leave this island. So you know what happened? Because their mindset was we either die or we survive, is that they took over that island. Because that was their only way. You know, you got to commit to your why. You know, and you got to commit to the system. We have a system, plug and play. You just come over here, right? Invite people and let us do, you know, let Tim work the laptop. You know what I'm saying? Let us do the work while you guys just sit here with your guests. That's all it is. That's the system. I can't make it any simpler. Because if I try to make it any simpler, it gets too complicated. Right? The system is just getting there and then, you know, plug it in. It's like this. Who here has an iPhone 6? Who here has an Android? You guys need to leave. I'm just joking. No, so, you know, when you first buy a cell phone, right? When you first buy a cell phone, sometimes you have 5% battery life. Sometimes you have 50%, and sometimes it's like a full charge, right? You guys ever bought a cell phone and you know, the charge, it's not always the same. It's not always 100% charge. It's always like different. Well, when you come into this business, some people's situation, you know, people's situation is different from others. So some people could come in this business with 100% charge because, you know, they're just rock stars right off the gate. Some people, they could be homeless like Brandon and have a 10% charge, right? Here's why it's important to get plugged into the system. Because if you're that person who comes in here and you have a 5% charge, you sign up and disappear, guess what happens? You die. Your phone dies. Right? No matter how good this phone is, it's useless if the battery's dead. So if your battery's dead because you're not plugging into the system, guess what? Whose fault is that? The guy talking up front or the guy who didn't plug in?
The one that didn't plug in.
Because obviously the guy talking up front is taking his time to train, to teach, to mentor, right? Doing the footwork. But if the person who's not plugging in, it's their fault, right? You know? So that means the people that's not here right now, and if they continue not to be here, it's not our fault because we're all here, right? You guys are all here. You guys, you know, made the effort, right? Give you guys yourselves a round of applause. It's okay, cool people. You guys can give yourself a round of applause. You know? So that's the thing, guys. Commit to the system. what we're gonna do, this is the basic 4-step training. We actually get in depth on how to pique interest, how to ask questions, how to build rapport, you know, how to network. We're gonna teach you guys all that as you start to get plugged in. But I can't teach you hours and hours of training. You know, you're just gonna have to go on our Google recorded hangout and watch me do the training and take notes. But anyways, so that's all it is, guys. This is the 4-step training. I know it's longer. I could talk more than anybody, you know, and sometimes it's useless talk. But that's it, guys.